The Alliance is a national study aiming to understand the causes of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and cancer. Our goal is to enroll 10,000 men and women from across Canada, with a special effort to include 2,000 Aboriginal peoples from 10 different communities across the country.
We've had a lot of chronic disease in our family, and one of the diseases that I unfortunately had to watch my grandma suffer from was she had dementia, and there was some brain deterioration that she suffered from at about the age of 70 until she passed at about 80. And over the course of those 10 years, we watched her forget all the loved ones around her, forget her own name, forget where she lived, and she started to sort of regress into memories of growing up in her childhood until the end when unfortunately she passed, and she passed because she forgot how to swallow and how to eat. So basically she just lost all the memory of how to do even her basic necessities. She forgot how her body was supposed to do those. So that was a very sad ending. So that was one of the reasons that I was really interested in participating in the Alliance, was because of the fact that it does study the brain dysfunction. And I know that the families questioned whether there's any, like what were the causes of that? What would have caused her to, to have a serious brain dysfunction, at 70, which really is not that old to be suffering from that. So
I know some of the people that have to have dialysis, and one person is my aunt, and she has to come here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to get dialysis done. And plus some of my friends have to have dialysis. Plus one of my cousins has to have dialysis, but she hooks herself up in the evening and the nighttime, and it runs all night, and she's had complications, and so has my aunt had complications. I think she had to have her toe removed.
And given the number of people on our reserve that had diabetes, I had no problem volunteering to be a study. I wanted to make sure that I was not one of the people who were going to receive diabetes, and if I did, at least I would know ahead of time. And then when being in a study, I was having blood pressure taken, cholesterol monitored, and little signs started to appear that there's a weakness in, I guess, basically my heart. There was no telltale signs of me having chest pains or any dramatic, like, arm sore. I was just out of breath. I was just tired. I would walk and then become tired. I would stop and then rest again. And then with the help of the study, they pointed me in the direction of getting a further test done by the family doctor. And excuse me, with that done, the family doctor had said, okay, well, we're going to take a little deeper look, which led to going to a specialist, and which in turn come to the conclusion that I needed a bypass. I had to have a triple bypass, and it was awakening to find that, okay, well, you're not invincible. So I agreed to, I wanted to live and see my kids grow. So it was no hard decision to make, to say that, okay, well, let's proceed. So we went to the hospital, Hamilton General. The surgeon made me feel very comfortable explained everything, what the procedures are going to do, what's going to happen, the time I'll be off work, what to expect. So it was not something where I was heading into the unknown. It was okay. It was comforting, scary, very scary, but also comforting with a family beside you. We proceeded, and I was in the hospital for 5 days for major heart surgery. They make you get up right away to get you back on your feet so that you can start healing yourself. And after I recuperated for 5 months, I went back to work, and I loved what I did. I loved the people I worked with. But I got to a point where, okay, well, my body's getting older, so it's time for me to retire and head off into the sunset. And with the help of Bonnie Davis and her the health group here, I was able to head off anything because I was a part of the study, which was a great thing for me to get into. So that's basically where I stand right today, and like I am quite happy to be where I am. So
I have a family that's very large. There was 12 aunts and uncles that I've had, and some of them have died for different reasons, but 8 of them have diabetes, including my dad. He had severe diabetes where his kidneys are starting to fail, and he was on dialysis I think 4 times a week, and he would be there for 4 hours for each treatment. And he was frustrated, but he knew that this was very important for cleaning out his system and giving himself the ability to survive comfortably. And unfortunately, he missed his one of his dialysis treatment and had to go 2 days without it. Anyways, he had passed away because of the buildup of toxins in his blood.
You probably have relatives who either suffered from cancer or cardiovascular disease or have had something like a stroke. So we're trying to understand if there are early ways of us to detect who might be at risk for a stroke or have early signs of cancer. We're also trying to understand the causes of these conditions, especially for cancer. This could involve things such as your diet, your lifestyle, how much activity you do, and the things you are exposed to in your environment.
It's pretty awful for the way that they have to suffer, our people have to suffer. And so to me, if the Alliance study can identify the causes of us getting diabetes, but not just us, Aboriginal people, I feel that if they can identify in other ethnicities, that would help a lot of people.
You will first meet with a coordinator to discuss the study. If you decide that it is right for you, the coordinator will help you complete the consent forms, the health questionnaires, your physical health assessment, and blood test. After the physical health assessments and blood test, you will receive an individualized risk assessment report that your site coordinator will go over with you. Once all of that is complete, we will schedule a local MRI scan. This will allow us to assess your brain, heart, and abdominal function in more detail.
There are a few areas on your consent form on the last page that are optional for you. We are asking to collect your health card number so that we can follow your healthcare visits forward in the future. So for example, if you're admitted to hospital for a heart attack or stroke, or you have diabetes and you see your family doctor for that, we will be able to collect that using your health card. We We've been working with the Six Nations now since 1998, and in each of our studies we've collected a blood sample. Our usual protocol is collect the sample, process it, and send the small tubes to our research laboratory, and we store the samples in liquid nitrogen, which freezes them to a very low temperature, and we're obligated to keep them for 25 years. Now, as part of a national study, there may be times where we want to analyze the blood samples of all of the Aboriginal people together to answer a specific question, such as a new marker for cancer or a new marker for heart disease. If we plan to do that, we will come back and ask the study working group if they agree. And if your community agrees that the analysis of your blood sample is important for the overall study objectives, then we will proceed. Some people find the memory test is slightly difficult. They may be frustrated if they can't remember the objects that we ask you to. That doesn't happen very often, but is possible. Some people don't like having a blood test taken and may have a small bruise after the blood test. For the MRI scan, some people feel a bit claustrophobic when they're in a small space. Occasionally, they may have a feeling of warmth after the MRI and a mild headache with nausea. But again, those side effects are very rare. I've recently had the MRI for this study and I didn't have any side effects at all. The first benefit is you will get a better understanding of your cardiovascular health. So we'll give you that risk report and you will be told that you're low, intermediate, or high risk for things such as heart disease and stroke. You will also learn more about the risk factors that may cause cancer. The MRI may reveal for you important things that you didn't know you had. And in general, this study will help your community by helping us understand the main causes of heart disease and cancer so that we can try and change them in your community.
I think the most important part of the study that needs to be explored on is letting people know that they might be in the MRI for a certain time, and to just prepare them in how to cope through being still and enclosed in small spaces. My background was being a firefighter, so I had my basic skills of keeping myself calm, and knowing the importance of breathing, and just letting yourself know that it's only for a short time, which is for the benefit of your body to observe for clusters of cells that could be relating to cancer. And that was my biggest fear, because everyone around me was starting to get cancer, and I was scared to do it, but when I did and I knew that I was clear, it gave me a whole sense of relief and a whole sense of keep doing what I'm doing. Having went through the experience, I would say it's important just to be in a good place where you are calm and you're well rested, and just to remember why you're doing it. You're not necessarily doing it because you have a particular problem or health issue, but you're doing it to be able to help your people and to be able to understand some of the causes of some of the chronic diseases. So I think just to remember why you're doing it and just to relax, and it wasn't that bad at all. It was I tend to be very hyper, and I don't like to have to lay still, but really it wasn't it wasn't bad, and I think you just have to prepare yourself prepare yourself and know that you're going to have to rest and just to be still for that period of time. So I think for me, just knowing that was part of what I needed to do was important. My experience has been
has been great. I really enjoy knowing what my status of health is. I've really enjoyed being a part of the study and being, understanding how, what lifestyle measures I'm taking to implement a healthy lifestyle, and enjoying another stage of my life cycle.
For anybody who is aware or worried about their health, without becoming constantly in the hospital, this is a study that's provided. It gives you a great opportunity just to find out about yourself. And also, you can also help your family members by the same token, saying, okay, well, what's been pointed out to us in the study, it makes a difference to the family too. Is okay, well, we should change our eating habits, our lifestyle. It's little changes, not major, but little changes that we have to do, which will help you.
If the Alliance study can identify the causes of us getting diabetes, but not just us, Aboriginal people, I feel that if they can identify in other ethnicities, that would help a lot of people. So really, the genetic research part of this study is a benefit if they can identify and see is there any genes causing all this, and what can they do about it, and give us feedback on what we need to incorporate in our programs.
Studies are really important because it helps us to be able to understand the causes of a lot of the diseases and illnesses that affect our people. And a lot of people, we tend to think, oh, you know what, that's a great study, but let somebody else do it. I'm too busy. But you know what, if we all think like that, nobody will participate, and we won't get all the results and all the data that we need in order to really be able to understand the causes. So I think we all need to step forward and know that if we hope to have healthier children and a healthier community, we all are responsible for participating and being involved in studies.
So if we could in the future improve and decrease those statistics, that would be the best thing until we can eliminate things like that. So that, to me, if this study could do that, that would be great. That would be a benefit to our community, but not just ours, all other communities as well, for Canada, in the world really.